Guys, welcome to my guy's review of the film Creed. So this is the 7th film in the Rocky franchise and starring Michael B. Jordan and again Rocky Balboa himself, Sylvester Stallone. But this is, even though it's a new film in the Rocky world, this is actually a spin-off to the original Rocky series. So this has got a new character. We still see Rocky in the film, obviously playing himself, that's Stallone. But now we see Michael B. Jordan playing as Mr. Johnson initially, because he is a child who is got an identity crisis, should we say. But then finds out he's a Creed, and therefore, despite all of his best wishes, kind of doesn't want to take the name Creed and wants to stick to having his own name and making his own name in the world, and so sticks with Johnson. And what we see is from a young age, fighting was always in Creed's, well, I'll refer to him as Creed, it was always in Creed's blood, because of course his father is the one and only Apollo Creed. As everyone knows, in Rocky 4, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, Apollo Creed dies in the ring. And of course, during that process, he had an affair at the same time. And the woman who had an affair with, she's the one whose son, Johnson, but she passes away early on, so obviously he's passed on to orphanages, to homes and stuff, until he's kind of found again. And then he kind of gets taken in by Apollo's wife, who refers to as mum during the film, and it's kind of where his story begins and his kind of upbringing. He gets to the point where he's a bit older, and now he's loving the boxing, and kind of he wants to pursue it more and more, and despite his mum's wishes, he goes into it more, and turns up at Philadelphia, the place of the Rocky films, where the setting is. So one of the biggest characters in the Rocky movies is, of course, the city of Philadelphia. And Michael B. Jordan turns up to Philadelphia looking for an apartment, finds a place, and of course meets Rocky Balboa. And that's kind of their first introductions to each other, and they kind of have a chat, and he explains who he is and says, I want to be trained by you. And Rocky, saying, I don't do any training, kind of reluctantly doesn't want to do it, but then still goes down to the gym to kind of see what Michael G. Mr. Creed is all about, and takes a couple of looks at him and says, you know what, I will train him. And then starts the training montage, which is associated with each and every Rocky film. We have a great montage, the streets of Philadelphia, he runs through them, he's skipping, he's boxing, he's doing everything that we expect, but he's not beating up meat this time round. Rocky, since we last saw him in Balboa, is now living by himself in Philadelphia, because even Paulie passed away, of course Adrian's passed away, and he's running a restaurant called Adrian's, and people of Philadelphia obviously know who Rocky is, because he's a living legend. And so when he goes to train this new kid, everyone kind of takes interest as to who's the new kid, who's he training, but it just so happens that the kid is Creed. So he goes off, has his first fight, and then interest kind of exhales, and even though he doesn't want to be referred to as Creed, more and more people want him to be known as Creed, and he gets his big fight in England, in Liverpool, at Goodison Park, the home of Everton Football Club, and he has his first fight there, big fight, and this is the traditional Rocky 12-rounder fights that we always see. And this, as with all Rocky films, of course, is the ultimate underdog story, the kind of rags to riches. But in his example, he's not poor, because obviously he's been adopted, but he does have his own rags to riches story as well. He's got Rocky in the corner fighting, and of course we still the beautiful Philadelphia, the Philadelphia steps and everything that is all associated with the Rocky films. Michael B. Jordan starred in Fruitvale Station, which was an amazing movie, and obviously he was really good in that. So if you haven't seen it, go catch that out. And so obviously when he came to do this movie, I was really excited, because I've got a lot of time for him, and a lot of respect, because he was really good. And so he's got a lot of credit saved up, in my opinion. And then he did Fantastic Four. It doesn't really matter, because He did Fruitvale Station, and now he's done this, and he is really, really good in this. And it's great to see, kind of almost like Rocky give up his mantle to someone else. In this, obviously going to Apollo Creed's son. And during the film, there's a great moment where they play Nazara Jones, or Naz, one of the best rappers around. His song "Bridging the Gap," which is a song with his own dad, and it's a song kind of like old meets new, and it's similar to this, where Creed's going to be the future of the sport, and of course Rocky Balboa, as we all know, was the kind of like the past. And it's a great, nice little nod to what potentially could open up to a whole new franchise here as well, all based in the Rocky world. So looking forward to more Creed films as well, if there are more. But that was quite a nice little nod. And even in this film, Rocky gets a taste of mortality for a change, because we always see Rocky Balboa, you know, he's the man no one can beat, he's the kind of ultimate underdog, you know, he's the toughest of the toughest. But for the first time, we now see that even his own mortality is being questioned, because in the film, Rocky suffers from cancer. And for the first time, we really see a different side of Rocky. Stallone has changed over the years, have passed, obviously. And there's a point where he doesn't want to live, and you have that point where in the film where you're looking at the two, and you almost think, right, which way can it go? Because Rocky doesn't want to live anymore. He's lost a lot, and Creed's saying to him, you know what? No, you got to do this for me. You know, we're family and stuff, and you know, it's a nice little kind of a nice little moment there between the two of them interacting, where, you know, Rocky, who thinks he's got nothing, now has something to live for, and, you know, has someone there who's looking out for him as well, which is really nice. And of course, starts his cancer treatment, and Michael B. Jordan is still Creed, is still kind of boxing and training around Stallone's illness. So it's nice to see a different side to kind of like the traditional montage that we normally see in the Rocky films. And then obviously we get to the big fight at the end. I'm not going to tell you who wins. It's another great little Rocky fight at the end, as with all kind of Rocky films. You have the big epic battle. We're in the boxing ring. In this case, it's at Goodison Park, and Creed, who, despite him not wanting to be called Creed, gets sent a nice little nod to the traditional Apollo Creed. I don't quite want to give it away, because it is so nice that he gets a little piece of Apollo Creed at the end, just before he starts his fight at the kind of like the final. And I believe at the end, you know, he accepts that he is a Creed, and you know what, he is going to accept his dad's name. Even though he does want to make it on his own as a Johnson, first and foremost. So it was lovely to see that. It's a good film. It's slightly different to the old Rockies in that you've got these. It's different. It's layered. It's good to see all these different elements to the film for a change. And of course, right at the end, a touching moment where Rocky Balboa and Creed, young baby Creed, walk the Rocky steps, and it's almost as if to say, this is the past, Rocky Balboa, Creed will be the future of boxing. And kind of like Rocky struggling to get up the stairs again, and Michael helping him up to the top, and then showing the city of Philadelphia. So it's a nice little touch at the end as well. A really, really good film. Michael B. Jordan, amazing actor, really, really good in this film. Looks the part as well. And of course, Stallone's in the film. He got nominated for an Academy Award for this, so it's a nice little nod from when he first made the Rocky films and won the Oscar for screenplay. I think it was Best Film, he got nominated as well. So it's great to see that Stallone got nominated again after all these years. This time for Best Supporting Actor, and he does a really good job as well. The other supporting casts are really good as well. Everyone kind of does their bit, and obviously having the city of Philadelphia around is it's great to have that big character of the city, because it's so famous in the Rocky films. It's such a touching film as well, heartwarming. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. The boxing where it gets, that's what it's all about. There are some amazing boxing scenes as well. You get right into the ring. You feel like you're part of the battle between Pretty Ricky and Creed himself. It is really well shot, and of course you feel really immersed in it all. So another great film. I'm a big fan of the Rocky franchise, to be fair. With the very first one that came out many years ago, and that's the ultimate underdog story. And then obviously you had number 2, 3 with Mr. T, number 4 with Dolph Lundgren, and the 5th one I wasn't a big fan of. And then you have Balboa again, which I thought was really good to see Rocky get back into shape and really do, as in Stallone himself as well, at that age, to get back into shape and do another movie. It's really good to see. So I was really looking forward to this. This does not disappoint for me. I really enjoyed it. Personally, if I was to give it a good review rating, as we normally do, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Soundtrack is really good. The city of Philadelphia is there. Rocky's there. Baby Creed is in here as well. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Got an Oscar nomination as well, so fingers crossed for Stallone. Good luck. Absolutely recommend this to anyone. You know, it's a great film. As with all Rocky films, if you love the Rocky franchise, this will not disappoint. Hit me up with your likes, your comments at the bottom. Hit the big S button to subscribe for more videos. So MyGuy review of Creed.